We need like intro music. Like they have.
Well,
I mean, we have our
Now recording.
and not intro music for like the podcast. I mean, we need like intro music, like when like wrestlers come out the UFC. What do they call that? That's just intro music, right?
yeah, yeah. Bum, ba, da, ba. You know what we
And
should
they
do?
all pick their own thing. And your fight music. What do you call that?
Yeah.
What's up, Rabble? I don't know what you call that. What do you?
Hey, Rebel.
That's Chad. What do you-
What we should do is we should incorporate the intro music into the pigs, the starting soon video, and that would mean we would never actually forget to
yeah.
run the.
That might be smart. Put it towards there at the end when the bacon's going and it like fades in.
Might need to
Final
fix
intro
that.
music is referred to as entrance music,
Entrance music. That's the same thing.
theme music,
Yeah, intro theme. It's the same fucking thing.
intro, entrance.
Well, how you been?
Me or Rabble?
Either or. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas. Since we didn't have a show last week.
Yay. Yep, you're welcome, everybody. Merry Christmas. You don't deserve anything. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, you didn't put up with us.
Filthy animals.
You didn't put up with us last week, which I think it was a good idea because I was so busy and I was so done by the end of like Sunday.
Yeah.
I was just like, I don't want to do anything else. I'm ready to go to bed. I think I was in bed at like 7, 8 o'clock, which is really, really rare for me.
We didn't even do anything for the first time I think ever. We didn't do anything last night for New Year's. Normally we like bang pots and Happy New Year, the whole thing. But I think everyone is so fed up with 2022 that we're just fucking.
Well, I don't want to take any chances.
We're just giving the middle finger as it's on its way out.
Yeah, I don't want to.
See ya.
I don't want to like start anything. I don't want to be like, oh, new year, new me. And I'm like, no, I don't really
Nope.
want to. I don't really want to know what the new John would be in 2023. We're just trying to kind of be low key, kind of go into grandma's house, not touch anything.
Yeah. See, that's how I've been. I actually started doing new things like a week ago, and I tried something new where I just didn't tell anybody. Because normally you're like, hey, yeah, I'm doing this new thing, or I'm doing this or that, or like, yeah, I'm watching my diet, or whatever. You tell everyone, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just am doing new things. I didn't say anything to anyone. I didn't want to jinx it. I didn't want to. I also get like this weird thing in my mind where I kind of jinx myself, where I'll tell somebody that, oh yeah, I'm doing this new thing, and like, and then after I've told them for a minute, I'm like excited about it, and like, yeah, I'm gonna keep doing it, and then like, I'm like, I get to a point where I'm like, oh, I gotta keep doing that because I told them I was doing it.
Yeah.
And then the whole millennial, I don't know if it's a millennial thing or a human thing or what, but our attitude of when somebody's telling you to do something, you're like, well, now I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I do that to myself
Yeah.
by telling somebody that I'm doing something new. And then in my mind, I think, well, now I got to do it because I told them. And then my own head is like, well, I don't want to do it just because I'm supposed to. I wanted to do it because I wanted to. So then I don't want to do it.
Yeah, I don't want to do it now. I totally get that. I totally
So
get that.
it kind of fucks me up. So I'm trying a new thing. Yeah, I'm doing new stuff, and I haven't told anyone about it.
Okay.
So I'm just waiting until things happen, and then maybe I'll tell somebody about it.
Well, I get that. I respect that. Yeah. No, we didn't really do anything for New Year's either. I mean, normally we have friends over or family over, something like that, and we didn't even do that.
Nothing?
No, I watched TV and I think Heather played on her phone, and Izzy played in her room until it was like 30 minutes to midnight. And we watched the Miley Cyrus Dolly Parton New Year special, which
Oh, Miley Cyrus.
yeah, it was on NBC. It was like the only time I watch like over the air television or whatever, like NBC, CBS is for
Yeah.
shit like that. I've got the digital receiver that you're supposed to pick up the local channels and shit like that, but I never use it. And I was like, well, I could watch something online. I could watch like somebody's stream or something. I'm like, well, then technically, when you do the countdown, it's already delayed because it's
Yeah,
going over the
it's
stream.
already New Year's,
Yeah,
and you're like, oh, it's coming, and it's already passed
yeah,
like 2 minutes ago.
exactly. So it's like, and if I watch something like over the airs, yeah, it's still technically delayed, but I mean, it's not delayed as bad.
Mm.
So I was watching that, and it was a fucking travesty. Um, they had some old David Burns, who's some type of singer, and
David Burns. Yeah, I
yeah,
don't know old
yeah,
singers
it
and
was
stuff. I don't.
like the Tom Jones era type singer, and
David Byrne. Yeah, I
it
don't know who that is.
it was, if you get a chance to watch the Twitter videos of him and Sia singing like her premiere song, her big one, Unstoppable or something like that, the song that she does. He was like, he decided, I guess, that he was going to go on stage and sing it with her, and
Hmm.
he didn't know the words. And I guess they
Oh,
had like cue cards up off the side because you could just see him, like the camera's here, but he was singing over here, and you could kind of tell he was
yeah. You
reading.
tell it. He's like, da,
Yeah,
da,
yeah.
da, da, da. Yeah.
So it was, I mean, it wasn't. It was no. It
He,
was.
he looks old as. Oh, he's 70. That makes sense.
Yeah.
He's old as fuck.
Yeah, but yeah, if you watch there's all over Twitter, him singing with Sia, and it was so bad. I mean, it wasn't just cringy. It was like, I'm big into music, and I was music major and all of that. So it's like I can hear music, and oh man, it
It's
was
not good.
oh it was so bad.
He made Miley Cyrus look good.
I like Miley Cyrus. I might be in like the male minority when I say
Yeah.
that, but I actually really do. I think she's a good musician. I think that um, she she had a hand that she was dealt. She was Billy Ray Cyrus's daughter. She was destined to do music, destined to do country music,
Yeah.
and she was just kind of like, nope, I'm going to kind of forge my own path and do my own thing. And I think she's done really, really well with it. Um,
He has some okay songs.
yeah.
The song I really like of hers is the one she did with Borgor, but that's just because I like Borgor.
Mm.
And I know a lot of you are like, who the fuck is Borgor? Exactly.
But she did music with Dolly Parton last night, which I like Dolly Parton. Um, she's the she's the last true Southern Democrat of that
Isn't she
generation.
old too?
Oh God, yeah, she's
She's
got to be in her. I was
76.
gonna say she's her mid 70s. I just said 75.
So they had Miley up there with two 70-year-olds.
Yeah, pretty much. And then
She's like, all right, if they start, Miley, if they start like leaning, grab them before they fall off the stage.
well, and then I watched an interview today that Miley wanted to do this New Year's thing, this New Year's special, and she wanted to do it with Dolly Parton. So she calls
Oh,
Dolly up and it's like, hey, because I mean that's her. I don't know if you know this. That's her godmother. Dolly Parton is Miley Cyrus's godmother. So
that makes sense.
yeah,
I feel like when you look, Miley's tied to like everybody.
yeah. Well, I
In
mean
the
she
family tree of Hollywood, somehow Miley is a third cousin, fucking twice removed to every single person in
yeah.
Hollywood. I feel like.
So she calls up Dolly and was like, "Hey, I'm doing this New Year's special. I would really like to do this special with you." And Dolly's like, I really don't want to go to New York. It's going to be cold. I don't do the cold. I don't want to be out in the cold. And
My
Miley,
hips hurt, girl.
yeah, pretty much. And like all the silicone gets cold and shrivels. I guess I don't know, but he or she was like, or Miley was like, "Don't worry, we're doing it in Miami." So she's like, "Done." So that was like the whole reason why they did it down there, is so like Dolly Parton would be a part of it. And I mean, I've seen worse New Year specials. I mean, we didn't get a was it Mariah Carey and doing her show where like she completely bombed it a few years ago.
What was that? Didn't Ninja do it like 2 years ago? And it was
Probably.
like during COVID. I think he did the 2021, and it was during COVID, and they like pan down, and it's literally that meme. Have you seen the meme where the DJ's like on the balcony? He's like, do, 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 and it cuts down to like a dirt parking lot, and there's three dudes in the parking lot going, yeah. That's literally how Ninja's like New Year thing went, and there was nobody there.
I
Nobody
could
gave a fuck.
I could absolutely see that, but it was good. I mean, and what I normally do is I like to watch the CNN holiday or New Year's thing because they have Anderson Cooper, and the last few years he proceeds to get just totally fucking drunk as shit while trying to do the New Year's special like on live television. And before it's all said and done, like you can tell he's slurring his words. He can't stand up. I mean, he's fucked up. And they said that this year they weren't gonna drink on the New Year's special. So I'm like, well, I'm not gonna watch it.
Yeah.
And
Where's the excitement in that?
apparently they fucked up in theirs last night. They had some musical act going on, and they had like a bunch of technical difficulties. And while they were trying to get it all worked out, they missed the ball drop. Like they were like as it strikes midnight, they're still like trying to finish up whoever's act it was. So they completely just bombed the whole.
So they missed. Did they have to raise it back up and lower it again?
It's like redo, guys, redo. But no, so but yeah, that was literally that's what we did. You know,
Who the hell was running that? 343. No, I looked. Ninja did 2018. I didn't know he been big for that long. And according to him, it's his biggest regret in life doing that New Year's special. I imagine. So it was before COVID. I was giving him the benefit of the doubt that was why nobody was excited and nobody was there because of COVID.
what
But no.
what channel did he do it on, or what was he a part of that did it?
New Year's Eve. Let's see. Crowd. I think it was like he was on like the main one. Like he was one of the main hosts. New York. Yeah, because he was in Times Square.
Because that would have been I don't know who does it now. Maybe it's CBS. Because I mean it was NBC. I think.
Let me see. Planet Fitness.
Because like everybody does their own like New Year's thing. Like all the channels and stuff do their own thing.
I'm just watching a clip from it because I'm trying to see what channel it was on. There's just advertisements for everyone on. I can't tell. The part of it was he's like, "All right, everybody, let's floss," and like it shows him flossing, and then it cuts to the crowd, and everyone's just standing there looking up at him flossing by himself. It's the funniest fucking thing.
Oh, live television is. I mean, I always try to watch stuff when they're doing shit live
Yeah.
because there's always going to be these huge fuck ups, and you just you have to
Well, it's
watch.
live. You can't fix it.
Yeah, you have to watch it. So
Yeah, you never know when a nipple's coming out,
exactly. I mean, you don't want
whether it was planned or not.
Well, that was the thing last year's. Miley had a wardrobe malfunction last year, so it's like, hey, if we're gonna watch it,
Yeah.
But that was it. That was our New Year's. I started watching it maybe 30, 45 minutes before the ball dropped, and like I was sitting in the living room by myself watching it because Heather was doing one thing, and like I said, Izzy was in her bedroom playing video game or something, and when it was getting close, I was like, hey, it's getting close. So
Yeah, I don't know if we're all like in the mindset of the world sucks or like the years don't matter anymore. I feel like it's gotten more and more like that every year. Like we're like, yeah, it's the new year. I didn't even make the joke. Yeah, see you next year. I didn't even say that once this year.
no, I didn't either. Yeah, I didn't either.
I just don't care anymore. 2022 was that bad for everyone that we're like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
2023. Yep.
I mean,
We don't even care. We're not celebrating. We don't give a shit.
I've got some things I'm looking forward to this year.
Yeah.
The wife, she finishes her master's degree, so we won't be paying for that anymore because goddamn.
Yeah.
So they got that going for us, and it means a big bump in pay for her at work, which is going to help us out, and
Yeah, that would be nice. Right, right when you need it because the economy's going to crash and everything's going to cost more.
it already is. I mean, groceries are going up, gas is going up, fucking video games are going up. Like, if you notice
Oh,
that,
everything.
like video games, instead of they were $59.99, now they're going for like $69.99, and like nobody
Well, they
is.
used to they used to be like $80.
Yeah.
Like on the Nintendo 64, they were like $80.
Mm-hmm.
But $80 like $80 back then was a lot easier to come by than $70 is now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even the original Nintendo games, they were priced at like 70 or $80, and I mean
Yeah,
that's a chunk
I've
of.
seen I've seen advertisements for around like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and they were like over $100 for
Yeah.
some games.
I mean, and that was a lot of money, especially in like going through the late '80s, early '90s.
Yeah,
So yeah, it
that
was.
was almost your rent because like you were paying $100 a month for rent.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And that was also one of the reasons why the rental like Blockbuster and those types of companies did really well, because you couldn't afford to buy them. You couldn't afford to buy all these
Yeah.
games. All you could do was, you know, go on a Friday night and go pick out a video game to play all weekend, because that's.
Oh, that was the fucking best.
Oh yeah.
Renting games and shit. Oh my
and,
gosh.
and you had to power through it because there was no saves. Like there was no, oh, I'll get to it later, or whatever. Like you had 2 nights. You had to beat that game in 2 nights, or you didn't, or you either had to rent it again, or you were done.
Yeah, I remember trying to power through Crash Bandicoot. And like, fuck! Oh, all right, another one. And I just get stuck on parts and like fucking staying up all night. I can almost hear the Crash music now.
Mine was oh shit, what's it called? Um, Nintendo Star Fox for the Super Nintendo.
Oh, Star
Yeah,
Fox was good too.
that was it's one of those like core memories that I have.
It will barrel roll.
Well, it came out. It came out. I want to say it was either 92 or 93 when it came out,
Oh, a long time
and
ago.
that we had a blizzard that year, and we rented the game. Dad rented me the game, and I remember sitting up and playing it, and I made it all the way to like almost the end of the game, and the power went out,
Oh,
and I never did get the chance to finish it, because by the time we got like dug back out of from the blizzard, we had to take the game back and return it back in. So I never did get a chance to beat it, and for years, like I did a retro game on my channel a number of months back that was playing through Star Fox for the Super Nintendo,
yeah.
because I'd never beat it. I'd played all the way through it and never beat it.
I don't think I played the Super Nintendo one. I played the Nintendo 64 one.
I had never played the Nintendo 64 one until I did a retro stream on it.
Oh,
I
it's so good.
it was. I mean, maybe I'm biased because I like the original so much.
Maybe.
I just I didn't like it as much. And then I mean it was good, but it just wasn't as good.
I
And
don't know if I'd enjoy it going back to it now. I remember at the time loving it, and I remember there's like a train level or something where you're like following a train, and you have to keep shooting it. And I remember like finally beating that, and just like fucking the euphoria of like finally fucking that stupid, gosh dang mission. Like it was so stupid and difficult.
are there any games that you've played, we'll say over the last 10 years, that gave you that type of like euphoric feeling of completion like those old games did?
I don't know. See, that's what I was gonna say too. When we were talking about the price, yeah, the old games were probably more, and technically even more when you now talk about inflation. $80 way back then is now
Oh,
that's like $140
yeah,
today.
easily.
But you got your money's worth. You got so many hours worth of gameplay out of that. I'm just readjusting. It's not my chair.
Did you get a new chair?
My, no, it just hasn't done it since the last podcast. It just wanted to act up, but the amount of hours and like some of them were you got a lot of hours just because they were difficult,
Yeah.
but some of them there was actually good gameplay, like Super Mario Brothers. There's
Yeah.
so much good fucking gameplay. It's just exciting. I'm trying to think while I'm talking, like in the back of my head, if there's been anything in the last 10 years
The
that's been
only
like
the
that.
only game that gave me that sense of euphoric feeling of completion recently, and this is recently,
Yeah.
was I beat Halo 4 on Legendary.
Mm.
That was the last time I had done Legendary game, or the last time I did a Legendary Halo, and I completed it. But I can't think of a single game that I've played. I mean, I guess
You
maybe
felt it?
maybe some of the Destiny games. Maybe some of the raids, completing some of the raids in the early days. I mean,
I
like,
think I finished one raid, so I don't understand that.
mm, uh,
I'm maybe not like completing. I can think of two games in the last like 10 years that I fucking loved. Like I absolutely loved. One that I 100%ed, which in the last like 15 years, I can't think of any games I've 100%ed other than Tomb Raider is the one I'm thinking of.
the original
Uh,
or the one that was,
the original in this new trilogy.
yeah, the one that came out um, 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah, something like
Yeah,
that. Everyone should know what I'm talking about. It's a new girl now. It was Square Enix, I'm pretty sure, and it was like a new badass chick. But also there was moments where you're like, is she badass? And then you're like, okay, she is badass. But like, the game was so fucking like pretty to look at and play, and like just explore, and like the amount of time I spent in photo mode, just like looking at shit that looked amazing. Like, yeah, and I 100% that, and I don't 100% games very often. Like, 100% do everything, every challenge, every little, collectible and
the
everything. Just
the the last game that I did that I 100%ed, and I
yeah,
recommend it. Anybody that plays video games should play it. It's on the Xbox. It's called Maneater, where you
Man Eater. That
yeah,
sounds familiar. Oh, the shark
the
one.
shark one.
I don't think I
I
played it. I downloaded it because it's on Game Pass. But
I had so much fun. I think 100%ed it in like a week. Like all I did was because there's certain games when I go to play them, I will like put myself as showing offline, and like I'm going to play. I don't want anybody to bother me. I want to play through this game. I don't want to like get random party invites. Be like, oh, let's talk while you game. Like, no, I want to focus on the game.
on the game,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I've done that with just a few games here recently. I've done it with Maneater. When Red Dead 2 came out, like I didn't appear online for like 3 weeks while I was like playing through Red Dead because I loved
Oh,
it
is that
so
what
much.
you're doing?
Yeah, pretty much.
I still haven't played Red Dead.
Oh, the story is just it's one of the best. It's one of the best stories in video games I think I've ever played.
Yeah.
Um,
So it's
it's a Rockstar
Xbox's
game.
version of because PlayStation has so many good story games.
Yeah,
Xbox has had a hard time finding good story game. Xbox has really good multiplayer games, but
yeah. I mean, there's games on the PlayStation that I would really, really love to play. I really wanted to play Last of Us because that looked really, really good.
I still need to play them. I had a PS4 for a minute. I played Last of Us a little bit, but we were so busy doing other stuff on the Xbox, I just never turned on my PS4, and I never played it for years. And then I
Yeah.
sold it because Best Buy was buying them back for like $180, like literally last year. I was like, "Fuck, you can
Um,
have my PS4 for $180."
there was a couple of games that PlayStation put out that I was like, that looked really, really good. That had a fun story.
That Last of Us, Uncharted is
Yeah,
supposed to
Uncharted.
be good. God of War is supposed to be good. I've never played that.
But
And the Spider-Man games.
yeah. Well, let's see. Maneater I 100%ed. Um,
Oh, I might have to try it then because I think
oh,
it's
it's
still on
fun.
Game Pass.
I mean, you and your son would have just an absolute ball playing it. I mean, it's gory. It's you have to eat the swimmers, and you have to do stuff like that. And you got to swim through the bayous, and but
Oh, I did just think of another game that maybe gave me that euphoric feeling when we beat it, but also kind of not. I don't. Well, kind of. It Takes Two. It
oh
Takes Two. So
yeah.
fucking good. That that's such a good game. That's probably the best game I played in the last couple years.
Okay. But yeah, it just I haven't had that sense of euphoria of beating a game like we did back then. And I remember when I beat Vice City, and the great thing about Vice City is after I beat it, it wasn't until after I beat it that I put another 1,000 hours into that game. You know, there was just
Yeah.
there was so much to do, and it was just a great way to kill time. Um,
I do feel like the joy factor, maybe it's just because we were little or two and we didn't have the responsibilities and stress of life weighing us down. I
mhm.
feel like I did get a lot more joy out of video games back then than I do now.
I think I get more enjoyment out of the games now because it allows me to kind of detach.
Yeah.
Um, I don't have to I don't have to worry about anything. You know, all the I come down here to the to my area where I game and whatnot. I'll start a fire in the wood stove and game for a few hours and not have to worry about anything. So I think for me it's they mean more, but I also look back at a lot of those games with like a real sense of like the nostalgia filter
Mm,
because there's
yeah.
because there's a bunch of games I've gone back to play as an adult, and we're like, this game's it's not that.
It's not good like I remember it.
Yeah, it's like I mean, it's fun, but I mean, it doesn't have that wow factor, and I'll catch a lot of hell for saying it. GoldenEye was like that for me. I played the hell out of that game. I mean, absolute teetotal fucking hell out of that game.
Yeah, I played it a shit ton.
And then I went back to it now, and I'm like, I mean, the control is kind of clunky. The aiming system's a little weird because it's got that like auto lock on kind of. Sometimes it locks
Yeah.
onto them, sometimes it doesn't. Um, that one just didn't do it for me because I went back and played through it here. I think that was another one of my retro streams was going back and playing through GoldenEye, and
I tried to play the Spyro games again. You know, they
mm-hmm,
released the trilogy whatever anniversary thingy.
yeah,
And yeah, same thing. Like I remember playing the shit out of them when I was younger, but now I'm like, this game's kind of like
meh,
dumb. Yeah.
yeah,
I don't really want to go on and release more dragons or what. Yeah.
Honestly, I felt that way with the later Mario games, like Mario 3, and then Super Mario for the 60 for the Super Nintendo, and then for the 64. I hated. I
Yeah.
just I didn't like it. I hated it. I never enjoyed it. Um,
I don't think I played that, but just like messing around. I
yeah,
never really like was worried about getting the stars or finishing. I would just mess around like surfing on the turtle shell and
me
messing around the
too.
castle and throwing the penguin off and
Another one that in that exact same in that kind of time frame was the Zelda games. I've gone back. I bought Breath of the Wild for the Switch. I have yet to play it, even though they're like, "Oh, this is the greatest game that's ever been made," and it probably is because they make those are good games.
it
But
was fun.
I was like, well, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to go back and play through the older Zeldas, and just to kind of get the feel of everything. And I went back and played the original on the Nintendo, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, this is
I never really liked the original one. I never got it. I always remember everyone around me, everyone's talking about how great Zelda is, Zelda this, Zelda that, all the new Zelda coming out, the Wind Maker or Wind whatever the fuck. I
yeah,
was like, they're dumb. You like those?
yeah.
That's why I didn't think I would like Breath of the Wild because I never liked any of the Zelda games. But then I played Breath of the Wild and I probably beat it like halfway or something, and it was fun. I couldn't stop playing it. Like the puzzles are really engaging and well done. Like they're not like some games where like when you do a puzzle, you're like, all right, I already know what to do. It's the same thing.
Right.
It's the same. I slide the block and then I just have to figure out which block and which order it is. But no, it's good. Uh, I don't know if I'd say it's the best fucking game ever. Everyone acted like when it came out for like the
Yeah.
2 years after it came out, so it's the best fucking thing that's ever been. I don't know if it's that good, but
No, and I honestly I think that game. I think that game did as well as it did because of the nostalgia factor,
Yeah,
and because there was so many kids, I mean, our generation that played through the Zelda games. So when they're releasing another one, we're going to rush right out and grab them and play them because it reminds us of playing Zelda in our bedrooms when we were a kid after school. Um,
yeah. I feel like that Pokemon's gotten to that point where they're
it's
taking advantage of
literally what I was getting ready to say next
everyone.
was
Everyone will just
Pokemon.
go buy it. The I didn't. I haven't bought the new one or the last one. I bought the one before that, and it was pretty fun. But these next two, I'm like, you just rushed. It's the same fucking thing. You guys are pulling a Call of Duty. You're
Well,
putting barely any work into it. You're just releasing the game so you can get more sales. There's nothing new. Like, and
to me, it's always felt like that. Like every single Pokemon game that's come out has always just felt like,
it feels like every 8 releases, you're like, all right, finally there's something new.
yeah. I mean, but I didn't. Pokemon was so strange for me because I didn't have a Game Boy, so I couldn't play the original stuff not until later on, and
Yeah,
then um, I really wanted to get into playing the card game. Like I was buying up the cards because I thought they were cool, and family was giving them buying me booster packs when I was in for my birthday or for Christmas or whatever, and I'm an only child, so I didn't have anyone at home to play with. And then I grew up in a not nerd friendly community, so there was no
every
playing.
community was that back
Yeah,
in the day.
well, it was. I mean, it was bad for me and people around here because we live in the South, and if you're not milking cows and shit like that, then what the fuck are you doing? We don't have time to play Pokemon. We got to go shoot deer,
Yeah,
whatever.
you gotta be a real man.
Yeah.
What are you
So
doing playing with little Pokemans?
yeah. So I never really, I never got to play it. Like I collected the cards, and my
I had
daughter.
some cards. I never totally got it. To me, I always thought of it like, is this gambling for kids?
Yes.
I don't know if I thought those words verbatim as a kid, but I always thought it was weird.
Well,
Like I'm supposed to be excited about them.
it was. I mean, I think it was games like that that set us up for loot boxes today.
Yeah, they're the exact same
They're the
thing,
same
except
thing.
now loot boxes are literally just a digital thing. It's not even a collectible thing that you can hold and has value. Because a holographic Charizard has value,
Mm-hmm.
whether you like it or not. If I have one and I'm lucky enough to unlock a thing that is one of 500 or whatever the fuck, that's an actual thing. But then you get on Apex and you go, "Oh, heirlooms are rare." No, they're rare because you ticked a box in an algorithm. They're it's a whole new thing. Like,
Well, yeah, that's it's exactly that, and they make it rare because they set the they can set the rarity of that item and they can change it on the fly.
yeah,
And whereas those holographic Charizards, there was a set number of them, there was a finite number, they were put
yeah.
into the
When they
wild.
were actually printed, they were
They're
actually out there. Something you can hold and sell. Like, I
Yeah,
don't know.
but no,
Talking about Pokemon did make me think of something that I kind of wanted to talk about, and eventually on one of these episodes, maybe right now, I don't know. You
do it.
remember? Well, you never played it,
What?
so you didn't have a Game Boy. So in the original Pokemon, I think I'm trying to remember. I think that was the first game where you could use like game exploits, and it became like rampant.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was doing the rare candy glitch. Where you like go to like there's one island and like you went on the edge of the thing and you went back and forth and like a weird glitch monster thingy came out or whatever and you could glitch and have unlimited rare candies and then you could
Right.
just evolve all your Pokemon. And imagine if 343 ran that and was like, we need to get that out of the game. Like there's some game breaking exploits uh, that you need to take out because they ruin the fun for everybody. And then there's some exploits you need to leave in because they enhance the fun for everybody, like super bounces in Halo 2. Can you imagine if 343 ran Halo 2 And a week after somebody discovered the first super bounce, they're like, "Yeah, we patched that out of the engine, so you can't do that." Do
Well,
you know how much of the popularity of Halo 2 came from super bouncing videos and people super bouncing?
I think the problem that that they had, or the Pokemon game had, or stuff like that today, is when you have a game that's 100% single player, which is what the Pokemon games were.
Mhm.
You know, who cares if it glitches? Who cares if you decide you want to, glitch out and get all the candies and evolve all your Pokemon? What's it fucking matter?
Yeah.
You
Well,
know.
also they weren't online, so they couldn't patch it if they wanted to.
Well, that's
It was
true
already
too.
on the game.
Yeah, once it was well, and that's a big difference in today's games as well, because we're of course not getting sold complete games,
Yeah.
so, which is a whole nother issue
Yeah.
that I have.
Yeah, along the same line of we're not getting what we used to pay for.
No,
We used
no,
to get a whole 3-course fucking meal for $80, and
yeah,
now we're getting here's the French fries. You get the burger later.
yeah, and it's probably not going to be cooked the way you like it either. But well,
Yeah, but we'll recook it for you if you spend another $20. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
no,
it's
no, you're 100% right, and it's a systemic problem across all of gaming. It's so bad, it's so rampant. When we're seeing it, we're seeing it in the Call of Duty game now, and
mm,
it was terrible in um, it was terrible in Halo. Uh, Destiny was built on being a complete rehash, and they were getting ready to put out the original Destiny game, and just months before they released the game, they completely
mm,
retooled the story.
yeah. Have
And
you seen the footage of the old one?
mhm.
It doesn't look good. It doesn't look like a fun game.
No,
But
and then that was even worse. Is there was parts of the game that they left in that made absolutely no sense, and they never went back and addressed those issues in the stories down the road. And then, like the
but
Stranger.
yeah, even Destiny. Back to the thing I'm talking about, exploits. The amount of cheesing and bullshit you could do in Destiny,
Yep.
and how much of it they left in for how long. Because Bungie fundamentally understands the difference between. There's a huge difference between hacking and exploits.
Hmm.
And there's so many people in the community, especially the Halo community, that think they're the same thing. Hacking is going in and changing game files for me alone, the hacker doing it.
Right.
It gives me an advantage that you have no access to. I'm changing and I'm giving myself auto aim or two guns or
Wall hacks.
uh yeah, the only game I've ever hacked was way back in the day, Halo 2 when it was on PC. There's a way you could hack and you could adjust gravity and super bounce, and you could dual wield snipers, and you could have them be fully automatic with unlimited ammo. I remember doing that on like Sanctuary, just jump up in the air and just spin around and have full auto aim, double dual wield snipers. That's hacking. That's not exploits. Exploits is when it's built into the game, into the code, into the engine. Every single person has the same ability to do it. All they have to do is go on YouTube and type how to super bounce on Ascension, and then they just have to practice it and understand, all right, if I go here and then I go boop, I can super bounce, and now I'm on the map, and now I have an advantage temporarily because I had practiced that exploit. It's the same as like on Destiny. If you get good at sliding around corners with shotguns, if you practice that, now you can kind of break the game because you start sliding around corners with shotguns. That doesn't mean you need to fucking completely go in and alter the game code and take that out. I mean, maybe you should though if it becomes a problem. But that's the same thing. Like, I don't know. Again, we're coming back to being mad at 343.
I was trying to avoid that today. Like that was the whole like we're going
It
to
just
avoid
reminds
that.
me of. I don't know if we've ever discussed it here. Of I can remember when I sort of lost interest in Halo 5, and pretty much since then I haven't really gained much interest in Halo since. I was holding out hope a little bit that Infinite would bring back the love for Halo, but I was like, it probably won't though. But back in Halo 5, there was a thing you could do called slide jumping, I don't know if you never really played Halo 5, so I'm sure you don't remember it.
Nope.
There was a way you could go down ledges, and if you like crouched and like slid right when you went down a ledge, you would go down the ledge at like 200% speed, and then if you jumped like right at the bottom, you could just like zoom across maps. So like that one map, I don't remember what it's called. It's outside. There's like these bridges that come like this. There's an empty like trench area in the middle.
Yeah, I know the one you're
There's an
talking
upper
about.
side on one and a bottom on the other. There's like a blue and a red base and a little like back area. I can't remember what that map's called. But on that map, it was huge because like when you came from that top area, you could zoom slide down the one side and instantly be on their corner over there. Like within half a second, you could be from the top mid zoom, and zoom down. So 343 didn't like that, and literally the day after, kind of like Call of Duty, the day after I mastered it and got really good at it, they patched it out of the game. And I was like, "You motherfuckers! I've been practicing that for a week because like you have to get the button presses down perfectly. It was like back in the day when you had to do BXB or BXR,
The
all
XR.
those things. You'd have to practice and get the timing of the buttons down correctly so that you could do it. The only difference being Bungie just left it in forever. BXR was in the game. 343 took
BXR
slide
was
jumping
a
out.
BXR was it was basically a skill based thing. You know, like,
Yeah.
okay,
Well, BXR was more game breaking than slide jumping in a Halo 5.
I can
The
see that.
343 acted like it completely destroyed and ruined their game and they had to get it out that second. BXR was an instant kill
Right,
because you go and they die
right.
instantly. Like, but again, yeah, you're right. It's skill, and again, it's an exploit, not a hack. Nobody changed any game files. It wasn't available to only the one person BXRing. It was available to everybody.
See, I never even considered BXR to be a glitch. You know, it was just what you did. Like
Yeah,
if you wanted to be good and you wanted to get those kills, you needed to learn to do it because that person over there, he's doing it. So
yeah.
you're gonna have to beat him to the
Everyone's doing
punch,
it.
literally.
Yeah, I remember this kid talking smack to me like way back in like middle school or something, around the Halo 2 time. He's like, "Yeah, I'll beat you," and I'm like, "I don't know, I'm pretty good at Halo." And he's like, "No, I'll beat you." And I hadn't mastered BXR yet, and we were playing a lockout, and he had mastered BXR, and he was beating me. So I'm like, I just have to out strategize him then. So I just kept going to places where I'd have a position over him where
Right.
like BXR wouldn't matter. It wouldn't do anything to me. So I still like barely beat him. But yeah, I remember after that I was like, fuck, I gotta get good at BXR.
Yeah. Um.
But
That's such a you know there's a huge difference between glitches and exploits and I mean, honestly I think there's glitches, there's exploits, and there's hacks. I think there's really three separate categories rather than um
I think you're right because a
because
glitch could be like on Halo 1 there's ways that you can get like the Warthog inside of rooms you shouldn't be able to.
right.
That's kind of like a glitch. I don't know if that's be an exploit. I feel like you're right. There's like three levels.
Well, I remember the best example was when Destiny 2 first came out, and they just brought back Trials of the Nine. Their their competitive elimination game type that was Trials of Osiris from Destiny 1. And what
Yeah.
if people got there was an emote that you could buy. It was a gold tier emote. So you had to buy it. And if you did, I can't remember which one it was. I think it was one where he would stop and your character would like take a step back and sit down. And if you went into like one particular map that Trials was on and you backed up to a certain spot and you did that emote, it would glitch you into the wall.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. And they
Yeah,
patched it out pretty quick.
yeah, and well, they shut off Trials for like 2 weeks while they were
Yeah,
trying
so
to
they
like
could fix it.
yeah, so they could try to fix it. And like I think that is, I mean, I guess it would be an exploit,
Yeah.
you know.
I just asked Chad because I was wondering, I wanted somebody to explain to me the difference between a glitch and an exploit. He says a glitch is an unintentional error that affects the normal functioning of a game, while an exploit is the way of using the game's mechanics in a way that was not intended by the developers. in order to gain an unfair advantage over other players. So I
Okay.
think
So
you
I
you
guess
you you can take a glitch and it becomes an exploit when it gives you some sort of advantage.
right. I guess that makes
So
sense.
like
Loot
getting a
cave.
warthog into a room in single player, that's a glitch because there's no, it's not giving you advantage over anybody. It's not, you know, but an exploit. I guess you could say super bouncing is an exploit. Slide jumping in Halo 5 is an exploit.
I remember in Destiny during the Vault of Glass raid, if in the early days they ended up patching it by the end of like the second season, but if you were when you were attacking the final boss, there was a point where he would randomly send half your team into another part of the map, and you had to go let them out. In
Yeah.
in the early days, if everybody backed up against the wall, no one would get taken into the other area, but you
Oh,
wouldn't be able to beat it. But what you would do is you would like, okay, we know we're going to spawn on Venus, so if you're really good at doing Venus, everybody takes a step backwards and gets up against the wall, except the two or three people that were going to
that you want to
that you
go?
wanted to go in because you
Yeah.
were exploiting that.
Yeah. So instead of making a random, you pick.
Yeah, you picked, and then because that was a big one, and then being able to solo Atheon, you would have to like climb up to a separate part of the map that was almost like out of the map, way up in the air away, and you had to have Icebreaker because Icebreaker regenerated ammo, and you could sit up
Yeah.
on that ledge and just
I remember trying to do that
yeah
with
it
Icebreaker.
yeah it would take like an hour to do it, but you could kill Atheon just by one pixeling him at a time of damage until you finally killed him. Because I did stuff like that in the early days because I didn't have a lot of people to run the raid with. So I would when it came time to do that week's raid, we would get up to that point and I'm like, hey, stop, let me bring my other character in and save this point so I can do this by myself later so you don't have to run it
Yeah.
again.
Later.
you know because we did that, and then we did the sword glitch on Crota, where you had to stand on the totems to build the bridge, and that was the only way to get across the big chasm. Or if you had like a Titan that had a sword that had a certain setup, you could run and swing your sword and float all the way across all the way across the chasm
Yeah.
to
I
like one
remember. I
little
remember
spot.
we did that a few
Yeah,
times.
and that was there for the longest time. Like the first, I bet you maybe the first 10 or 15 times that I ever did that raid, I didn't know how to do it any other way than that way.
Yeah. Just cheesing it.
Yeah, just cheese it because it was way easier. It was way quicker, and but
See, those kind of exploits, I don't mind leaving in the game. I guess this is when it comes down to like corporate level. There's so much money on the line. The video game industry is now the number one earning industry in the world, way over movies. I don't know what they hit last year. I think like 180 billion or something crazy. Like it's a huge industry. So I get it at a corporate level. You're like, all right, what exploits do we have to get out of the game? Because we can't ruin our players' experience.
right,
And I think some of them go a little too far because there's some that are literally just adding a fun factor, and that's it.
right.
It's not hurting anybody. And then there's some that definitely are hurting some people.
Well, I mean, I could definitely see during the days of, especially during the Atheon raid in the early Destiny, because
Yeah.
because number one, you had to complete that raid for the possibility to get the helmet on hard mode. That was the only way to hit max level, was to finish that raid on hard mode to get the helmet, and that was it. So that made it difficult. And then that was how you got Vex Mythoclast, the fusion rifle,
Yeah.
which like every 6 weeks they would change the meta around, and fusion rifles would be stupid again. And if you had Vex, you won all PvP encounters because you just three shot everything. And
Yeah,
you
so in that case, I guess you could say that maybe you need to work on taking that out.
Yeah. Well, but
I don't
my
know.
my thing with it was is instead of taking out these glitches to where it makes it easier for you, or exploits to where it makes it easier for you to collect weapons and gear, just don't make this gun great in competitive. Like
Yeah,
just don't. I mean, okay, if we're going to add 1/10 of 1 second to the fire rate to this weapon, well, you've just made that weapon worthless.
yeah,
Its time to kill is now completely meaningless. So they know these things are going to make these changes. So why not just not make those changes and allow these people to go and collect these weapons? Because that's what early Destiny was all about. It was, you got this set of armor that you wanted to complete. You got this set of weapons you wanted to complete. Or like you that spent fucking 7 years trying to get a god roll on a sniper rifle.
and then I did, and then I stopped playing Destiny.
But I just
I don't know. It's almost opinion based, but I feel like when is it okay to start taking exploits out?
I think that
Does it depend on how much of an advantage it gives you?
I think I think for me, I draw the line between single player and multiplayer, or PVE versus PvP. If you're doing something like Loot Cave was another example of an exploit from Destiny.
Yeah.
There was that one cave in that one area of Earth that when a certain event happened, endless enemies would spawn out of that room. So you could just stand there in front of that cave and just you and like six of your
Yeah,
buddies
just farm
and just
forever
farm it.
for
Yeah,
loot.
farm it for loot. And
So does that need to be? I feel like that almost breaks their game, but also doesn't, because I'm playing your game.
yeah.
I'm getting loot. I'm just doing it not in the way you wanted, but it's not hurting anybody.
Well, it's not hurting anybody. And some of the most fun that I had during that era was, okay, you had three-man fire teams, and it was just you and two other people, but you could have up to 12 people in each instance. So
Yeah.
there was a
So a
chance.
bunch of other people joining.
Yeah, there was a chance that you and 11 other people sat in front of that cave for 2-3 hours and just farmed that spot every 30 minutes. Like, you didn't go anywhere, you didn't leave the area. You would do your 10 minutes of farming, and then you would go fuck off for 20 minutes in the area, and then you'd run back, to do it again. And you were just on this endless cycle. And you did it with just over and over and over and over again. And sometimes you would even like get the person's gamer tag and send them a party invite. So the next thing you know, you've got 12 people in a party chat that you don't know who they are, but you're all just here doing the same thing, and you're just goofing off for a few hours. Like, that type of exploit made the game that much more fun.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A fun factor.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I'm trying to imagine if I'm the developer of a game like Halo, and I see people super bouncing and getting on top of maps and shooting down with other people, and then I look into how to do it, and I'm like, oh, well, it's not that hard. Anyone could do it. You spend 5 minutes learning how to do it, and you probably start finding new super bounces once you understand the mechanics behind it and what it's doing. I would
Right.
want to take that out. But maybe when I look at BXR and I see, oh, it's an instant kill. But again, it's easy. It's just practicing and the timing.
It's just your timing, and everybody can do it. And
Yeah, and everybody can do it. So I don't know. I don't know what you'd patch in, what patch out. The loot cave, that one's a hard one to say because it kind of breaks your looting system, but also not. It's not like I guess if you sat there for 2 weeks and just did it constantly all day, every day, then you could unlock everything, I guess.
well,
But if you're going to spend that much time, like,
you're not even going to unlock everything that's possible. I mean, you still had a less than 1% chance of a legendary item to drop.
yeah, well,
So
and
you're still
I think their looting's still the same. It still will drop you repeats and, like,
yeah.
Yeah, so even then, I
Well,
would have left.
I don't think Ingram's. Maybe it's changed, but Ingrams don't drop gear that you already have now.
Yeah, I think they changed it now, but it used
Yeah.
to be it could drop the same thing over
Oh
and
yeah,
over.
over and over and over again.
Yeah.
The people that once you got Gallahorn, it would drop all the time. Like
Yeah,
once you
once
get
you had it.
once you had it, it would drop all the time.
Then it would drop.
Yeah. Um, but for me, it's if it breaks your PvP experience, then it shouldn't be there. Like I would go to the extent of I would take super jumping out of competitive or PvP or whatever, but I would leave it in the
Well, they
campaign.
just had their own rule set again because Bungie was smart and let MLG do their own things. MLG just had their own rule set. If they saw you do it, then you just got you
Yeah.
know you disqualified for that tournament, and depending how badly you were doing it, you'd get banned from future tournaments. It was just an MLG rule thing,
Yeah.
but they just left it in the game.
Well,
Also, according to like interviews that I've seen later on, Bungie didn't want to leave it in the game. They kind of had to. It was a core part of the engine. They wouldn't be able to fix it.
right. Not
Like it
without
would have
making
been
you.
a lot harder to fix it back in the day than it would be today.
Yeah. Well, I guess
Like,
like I said, I think that when it comes to game breaking stuff, I would take it out of multiplayer altogether.
yeah,
And if you and your buddies want to go in and play the campaign together, and you want to super jump up out of the map to give you some advantage on an elite or a hunter or something, fine. Because I mean that really doesn't break your game. I mean,
yeah,
that type of stuff would make it more fun because it would be like, hey, Oreo, me and Mystery and Rob are going to go and we're gonna do a legendary run, but we're going to do it using this exploit that's melee's only.
yeah.
And there's like using BXR melee's only or something. I mean, whatever.
Okay. Well, even that's
Yeah.
hard to say though. Like multiplayer versus PV, that makes sense until you think about. All right, now what about? Okay, there's some jumps that they took out of the new Plaza remake that they put on Halo Infinite. I haven't played it. I've just seen people talking about it on Twitter.
Hmm.
So there were jumps where you could like jump from snipe 1 to snipe 2 without using the lift. There were little ledges that you could jump on and
Right.
get up.
Hmm.
So again, it was a skill-based thing that if you practice and learned where to jump, uh, you could jump from snipe 1 to snipe 2. And then there was another one in the back of like the sword base area. You could jump from the bottom area up to the top area. And they patched that out too, and a lot of people were pretty upset that why are you taking all the fun out of my game? That doesn't break the game just
Right.
because I'm going a different way than what you wanted.
Right. And then Rabble makes a good point. Maybe it's all just about consent. The difference between a
Well,
glitch and an exploit is consent.
Yeah, well, I was wondering about that too. What if you communicate with your community and
What?
say,
What the
"Hey,
fuck is that?
communicate with your community"? I don't know.
Yeah,
340, never heard of it.
never heard of such a thing.
What if you did like a poll on Twitter and Facebook and all your socials and whatever, and said, "Hey, everyone that hates this glitch and wants to patch out, vote yes, and everyone that wants it in because it's fun, uh, vote no or whatever."
Yeah, no.
Oh,
Well, I mean, and that would be better than what they're doing now. If they listen to anybody, they listen to the competitive scene, going, "Oh, this is where our base is at." The people that play competitively. No, it's not. That's
no.
not your base. There's no video game out there that's your base. I don't give a fuck what game you're playing, with the exception of maybe League of Legends and Valiant and Valorant and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Those might be, but I mean your everyday games, your Halos, your Call of Duties, even down to fucking Minecraft, and nobody, listen to your community. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Um,
But even like you said, even if they just went PvP, we patch exploits, single player we don't.
yeah, I would be okay with that.
Yeah, even that's, I don't know. You just get to a point where 343 has gotten where like there was a glitch where you could take the like a cannon off of a scorpion tank and just
Oh,
take it through the single player.
yeah, the invisible scorpion cannon thing.
Yeah, and they patched it out. It's
Yeah,
like it's in single player. What?
who
Who am I
cares?
hurting?
Who cares? Like that was my thing. Is I mean I knew it was there. I knew it was there, and I still didn't use it. I was like, I want to play through it legit. You know,
Yeah, I never used it. I knew about it.
I wanted
I
to.
never used it. But
I wanted to go back later and play through it again and do shit like that because then you've already beat it. You don't care, and that was something that I wanted to do, and then I completely and totally lost interest in that game and don't give a fuck about it anymore. But
yeah,
we still bitch about it, so there's that.
I know. I just feel like the core feeling of Halo. We keep coming back to Halo. It's just because it's what we know. Talk about what you know.
Yeah.
The core like of Halo has always been jumping stuff, right? Jumping maps. You remember how many forged jumping maps? That's the entire thing. It was just jumping, and all the time 343 keeps patching out of Halo 5 and Halo Infinite all these jump exploits and stuff. It's like, who am I hurting by jumping up here?
Yeah. Well,
Because
and most of the,
I'm not getting to a part of the map that I'm not supposed to.
yeah.
90% of the stuff they're patching out, I'm getting to a normal part of the map. It's just instead of walking up the ramp over there like you wanted me to, I jumped up over here.
Well, one of the things that I noticed, playing through, I think it was, Halo 4 on the Valhalla map. There was a spot in the back that you could jetpack up to, and it was a ledge. That if you could get the sniper rifle and get up on that ledge, you
Yeah,
had
you'd see like across
yeah,
the whole map.
yeah. And once I saw somebody do it, and then once I realized what they were doing, I was like, well, fuck, I can do that. So now, is it an exploit when everybody knows how to do it?
Yeah.
Everybody has the same equal opportunity to do these things. So what does it matter if it's in the game or not? Everybody can do it.
I know. I think they just need to sit down. And I know they're all scared about making the wrong decision, but they've been making the wrong decision anyways.
Yeah.
They need to sit down and go, all right, there's an exploit that gives you unlimited ammo. You can just keep shooting forever. Do we need to patch that out?
Yeah,
To
probably.
me, yes, I would
Yeah.
patch that out. All right, now number 2 on the item list. There's an exploit where you can jump up to the middle of the base from the bottom of the base instead of walking around and going up the ramp. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, who
Leave it
cares?
in.
Yeah.
Okay, if they want to practice and figure out that jump to save them half a second and come from a slightly different direction, whatever.
Right.
I don't know. Are you sure we want to be family friendly? We don't want to hurt our stakeholders. No, you're right. Let's just patch out every single fucking thing and tank our $500 million franchise. Let's try that.
I have that's a good segue. I have a theory about that in regards
Oh yeah.
to the Activision.
Oh yeah. You said you wanted to talk about that.
Well,
So that'll let's hop on our little segue. Hop on our segue. We're going to talk about the FTC and the Microsoft deal and your theory.
so if you read what Phil Spencer said in some of the legal documents in regards to the acquisition, is he said that they wanted the acquisition because they wanted to expand their library for Game Pass.
Yeah, the $68 billion acquisition of Activision.
Right. And they wanted to expand their library because they were like, game this is what they want as their bread and butter. They want the subscription based Game Pass system, which I think is brilliant and I like it. If you spend time reading through a lot of the legal documents and the explanations on why they're wanting to do this, that, and the other, they keep coming back and go, we were wanting to increase our content and better our content and make things better for the users and community. They never mention Halo, like at all. Like nowhere in all their discussions about their content and their library of content or whatever, they never mention Halo. And I wonder if this acquisition would we have less of a chance of going through if Halo was actually really good right now. Because if you would come out and say, we just don't have any good content, man. Our content's terrible. We want to increase our content. And then they're like, well, you've got Halo over here and it's doing gangbuster, man. What are you talking about? So my conspiracy theory is they're tanking Halo Infinite on purpose. I think they're doing it on purpose to make them look like out of position to be able to do, or to make it seem like they're coming at it from a less prominent position for this acquisition. I really, I'm at the point where there's no way that they could have just let Halo fall apart the way they have.
Or are the heads of 343 garbage, but the heads of the head of Microsoft's are not, and they're just really smart and taking advantage. I don't know. I was trying to look up when. I wanted to see the timing on it. When did they announce that they wanted to acquire Activision?
It's been over a year.
I know it's been a while. I can't remember. I think it was shortly after Halo came out, though.
Exactly.
But I can't remember how long after.
To me, that fits the timeline.
You might be right. Let's see. On January 18th, 2022.
Okay.
Literally a month and a half.
Exactly.
2 months after Halo came out.
Yeah, exactly.
And was a huge flop. Microsoft announced its intent to acquire Activision Blizzard. I added that first sentence. This article doesn't say 2 months after it came out was a huge flop. I added that part.
I mean, there's just, to me, there's a formula for Halo. It's a recipe.
Whoa. You might be onto something, Kay. How many times, and there's two parts to it, how many times has Microsoft ever bragged about how much money they've spent on a video game?
Not very often.
Now, I get it, Halo was a lot if they actually spent $500 million on it. But also, where did the $500 million go? Does Infinite look like it cost $500 million?
I can't fathom what type of product you could. I mean, this is any product, whether it be a video game, a home, a car, a phone, any product that say I spent $500 million developing this product. I can't imagine what that product would look like. I would assume for $500 million that your product is going to be fucking perfect. Like it's going to have all the bells and whistles. It's going to have everything completely thought out. It's going to have a great story. It's going to have great graphics. It's going to have great gunplay for $500 million. Is that actually happening? I don't know. I don't know. So anyway, so you were saying?
I'm trying to find this article if it actually cost $500 million or if that was just a rumor that they started spreading, because I'm seeing this thing that Frank O'Connor says it didn't cost $500 million. That was the original budget we were shooting for.
Does that mean they went over that budget?
No, they're under it. That's how much they thought it was going to cost.
Okay.
But it never cost that much. But now that's out there. So again, that kind of plays into your conspiracy theory of it never actually cost them $500 million. But that's like the rumor now that $500 million and they need Activision.
Yeah, so now they need Activision to be able to fill those gaps of, I mean, look, Halo just completely fell apart and we don't know what happened, And now they're, and
yeah, because now I'm seeing this other thing on another website that says people who say Halo Infinite has a $500 million budget are not spreading truthful information. Many insiders have debunked that rumor that it costs that much. So yeah, everything I'm seeing says that it did not cost $500 million, but that's what we've all been saying. That's literally what's out there. Everyone's saying it's $500 billion or $500 million. But everything I'm seeing says that's not true. Can you look at... Are video games on like IMDb?
To what extent?
I don't know, like where it says the budget.
I don't know. I feel like that might be proprietary, wouldn't it?
You can't even find it. If you type in Halo Infinite budget, everything starts talking about $500 million.
Well, I mean, I don't
But
know.
that's not true. I've literally seen so many articles say that's not true. So I don't
Maybe
know.
maybe
Would they?
you could try searching for maybe one of Microsoft's stockholders
Oh,
meetings.
earning report or something.
Yeah, like their stockholders meetings that they would talk
They're
about it.
so secretive on their numbers, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can't say that I blame them, but I my thing that really confuses me is the amount of shit that Sony is putting down about this, and they backed Microsoft into a corner with the whole 10-year contract. Did you hear about that?
Yeah,
Um, they're giving Sony a 10-year license on all of the Call of Duty content going forward. So they won't have to worry about exclusivity, which I don't understand what Sony is bitching about exclusivity. They have all of the best exclusives. I can't
they've
think.
been exclusive with everything.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I can't. I mean, outside of Halo, what else does Xbox have that's exclusives?
No, that's what we're saying. Hybrid. I don't know how to say your name. Sorry. Yeah, that's what we're saying. That Q has a theory that Microsoft has tanked Halo into the ground on purpose. And
They
while we're looking into stuff, when you try to look up the budget of how much Halo Infinite cost, almost everything says 500 million. Other than like three different articles I found now that have said that's been debunked by Frank O'Connor himself and several other people inside that say it did not cost that much. But that's the only number you can find
it's
anywhere
hybrid.
online is 500 million. So
Hy-
that kind of plays
oh,
into Q's
hybrid. I get
conspiracy
it.
theory of let's inflate how much we're losing on this huge. Our number one IP is in the ground.
Yeah. So we
Uh,
absolutely want to pivot to mobile, which I didn't
do,
know that. I didn't know that Activision owns Candy Crush. That's a
uh,
that was new
I
on
won't be
me until
surprised.
yeah
Activision is a big
yeah.
fucking. They own a lot of shit. Everyone always talks about Call of Duty, but they own a lot of stuff way beyond Call of Duty. I mean,
Oh yeah.
Call of Duty by itself earns over $1 billion a year, but Activision makes way more than $1 billion a year.
Well, it
Like,
is it's one of the oldest video game developers, like, full stop. Like, it was developing video games for the Atari.
yeah, yeah, I
You know,
remember seeing the
Mortal
Activision
Kombat.
thing come up on Atari. Yeah,
Yeah, Mortal Kombat was an Activision product. So
how much does Activision make per year? Uh,
what's the purchase? What was the asking price for
yeah, Activision makes 8 billion a year.
Jesus Christ?
So yeah, Call of Duty's 1/8 of that. That was 2020 numbers, by the way. So it's probably more than that. What were you saying? Oh wait,
Yeah, I was looking at.
Activision Blizzard in September of 2022 was already at 1.8 billion. So
Um,
you got to count their entire holiday. They probably got another half a billion, maybe a billion. So they made over 2 billion last year.
yeah, the Microsoft is offering 69 giggity billion dollars for
Hmm.
Activision Blizzard, and it's supposed to be like one of the largest acquisitions in U.S. history. Like, this is the biggest one ever. And
Yeah, for like a single
yeah,
entity.
but yeah, no, Hybrid's right. I mean, Call of Duty is only relevant because they
Yeah.
push out new content. What,
Well,
every
they're
year,
they're
every
also
other year?
kind of smart because they have like I think they have five different developers that make Call of Duty stuff now. It
Yeah.
used to be two, then it was three for a long time. I think there's five now.
Um, the only one I can think of is Raven
There's
Studios.
Ravensoft, or
Ravensoft,
is that
yeah.
it?
I've
Raven and Treyarch
because
and
I've done some 501st Troops with one of the art
was it Black
designers,
Box one of them?
but no, it just
Certain Affinity makes Call of Duty stuff. I mean,
yeah,
Certain Affinity makes stuff for everybody though.
right.
But
But no, I really believe it. I just there's no other reason why I think that Halo was as bad as it was at release. They
yeah,
they, they
I don't
had to
think
have, they had to have known. They had to have.
it's a cool theory, but I'm going to counter that with all of them are stupid as fuck and they're not smart enough to plan that ahead. I
I
think it just happened to it happened to fail, and Phil Spencer is the smarter uh, of the upper management and saw an opportunity to. Because I've heard rumors that they were talking about acquiring Activision way ahead, but I mean, I guess they've been developing Infinite for 6 years.
Mhm.
But I think they just saw the opportunity. The timing was right. Halo ended up flopping. You know, they could have waited longer to announce the Activision thing. I think they looked at it and went, the timing's right. Let's just announce it now and just go with it and say, we have nothing. Look at Halo.
Well, I just thought it was really interesting that Xbox they put more emphasis on wanting to pivot to other gaming platforms rather than just
Yeah.
the
Well, and
Xbox.
they already have. I mean, look at everything they have on PC with Game
Hmm.
Pass and their ties to. I mean, you can play Halo Infinite on Steam. It ties right. Look at their stuff with their deals they have with Samsung. You can play through the cloud on a Samsung TV.
Yeah,
All you need is an Xbox controller. I mean, look at their stuff with mobile, playing from your phone or a tablet.
yeah.
Again, all you need is a controller. Like, it's
I mean, it's a huge move. I
yeah,
mean,
it is funny that they talk about not having anything because at the same time they have the best infrastructure. But yes, Sony does have the better games.
yeah. Well, that's that's been a thing for forever, is that Sony has always had better storytelling games, and Xbox has always had better multiplayer games.
Yeah, pretty much for from the beginning.
Hmm. At least for as long as I can remember. And I mean, that's going back to the birth of the Xbox with, Xbox
Yeah.
and PlayStation 2.
Well, even before Xbox was out, PlayStation. I mean, back then online was not a very common thing. It was
Hmm.
really hard to do. But even PS1, way before the Xbox, they were mostly single player and they had really good single player games.
Yeah. Well, and they were also putting more emphasis on the couch co-op,
Yeah.
which doesn't exist anymore, and that's will always make me angry till the day I die. It's like my number one issue with gaming, with the gaming industry, is
Yeah.
their desire to sell TVs and
Well,
Xboxes or consoles,
mhm.
rather than being able to sit down with your kids and play.
I wouldn't be surprised if it comes back just because um, in the last few years they almost don't even make money on consoles anymore. So they might as well make them as powerful as they can and have a co-op. Uh,
But then again, whether they're making money off their co-op or off their console or not, they're still going to be making money off with what they're pushing for is the subscription service.
yeah.
You can't have couch
Well, and
co-op in your
Microsoft's already
subscription
started.
service.
Yeah, Microsoft's already started the family plans and stuff for Xbox Live and Game Pass and whatnot.
Hmm. But it's still those days are gone. Let's see, Xbox was always focused on their U.S. market.
Yeah.
For us,
Xbox is focused on the US market because that's the only place they can get a market share. Everyone overseas is Sony loyal,
right,
and that's Sony's whole thing is being loyal to Sony.
right,
Nobody in Japan, like I think Xbox has like an 8% market share in Japan and like even less so in China. Like nobody buys Xbox there.
right.
I think that's another part of why they want this deal. They want to, try and encompass and gather more of that market share across seas. Because I think in US it's almost 50-50 between Xbox and Sony. Nintendo's a very small sliver. They do their own thing. But like overseas, Sony dominates. It's not even close. Nobody's buying Xbox anywhere overseas in any country.
Mm-mm.
Middle East, Italy, freaking Russia, China, nowhere. Everyone buys Sony.
Well, I mean, Hybrid here makes a good point with talking about the paywall, and that was the big difference between Xbox and Sony. And for me personally, it's one of the reasons why I chose Xbox over Sony was the fact that their subscription service was paid, because
Yeah.
it put me with people that were less likely to be children. I know I've said this on the show multiple times, but for those listening, the last thing
Who hates kids?
I do. I hate gaming with children, and I mean, and my issue is I have kids. I have kids between the ages of 9 and 19, and the last thing that I want to do after dealing with them all fucking day is to sit down and play a video game where I've got ones that are screaming on the game that I can't do anything about. And
that was another thing they missed out. Remember on 360 you could do underground, whatever, separate your community. I missed those days.
Yeah.
I feel like I never ran into kids back then. I still run into kids now, hopping in Call of Duty.
I've ran into since you and I've been playing Call of Duty, I've ran into more kids in that game than I have
on Halo or Destiny or
anywhere else. Now, when we get to our cream of the week, I have another game that I've been running into a lot of kids, and that it annoys me. But I don't want to feel like I need to censor myself. I don't want to, because they're, if we're joking around and fuck you and fuck your mom and
the funniest part is you say you don't want to censor yourself, and on the other hand, I don't think I've ever heard anything as foul come out of somebody's mouth than what some of these kids say.
Well, yeah.
I've never had a grown adult say some of the things these kids have said.
Yeah,
I'll never forget the day when I was playing Halo 3 and a little kid that couldn't have been more than like 9 or 10 told me that my mom was a professional whore and he had her tied down to the bed in his bedroom right now. And I was like, wait, my mom's a professional whore, but you had to tie her down? He's like, yeah, and she's going to suck on my peanuts. And I was like, wait, your peanuts? What's she doing to your peanuts? Bro, I'll never forget it. That's a core memory in my head, playing Halo 3 and being told my mom's a professional whore.
You know what? I'm not going to argue with that. But
yeah, I don't want to play with them either because I don't want them to be telling me that my mom's a professional whore and she's sucking on peanuts.
You don't want to hear that. I mean, that's not good for your own well-being and your own psychological well-being to hear about your mom's, peanut sucking abilities.
I don't know if she likes salted or unsalted. I don't want to hear about that.
I feel like it would probably be salted, but that's just, that's an opinion. But, and like I said, that's one of the reasons why I went with Xbox.
Well, Sony's online shit is garbage. I'm sorry. It still is, too.
I've never
their subscription sucks. Their offering sucks. Their UI is garbage. It has been from PS4 to PS5. I don't have either, but I do have them where I work, and I do, play with them often and mess around with it. And they're kind of like Apple to me. It's not intuitive. It doesn't make sense. Until you know how it works, then you know how it works. Any Android I can pick up, and there's 18 different OSs for Android. There's Oxygen, there's Samsung has their own version, and stuff is in a different place. I feel like I can still find it, even though it's in a different place.
Right. Well, I mean, it really
I just hate how Sony's set up. But, again, you're not playing online. You're playing single-player games. I'm not trying to get online with God of War.
Right. Well, that's true, too. But, yeah, I honestly, I really do hope that Microsoft does make this acquisition. I hope they buy it. I hope the FTC gets out of the way.
FTC kind of fumbled the fucking ball. Because their main argument that they came out with was, well, you said on your last acquisition that you were going to share it. And Microsoft was like, no, we didn't. And then England was like, yeah, no, they didn't. And like, and FTC's just like, well, that was our whole argument, but I guess we have nothing.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, PlayStation was going, Sony came forward and was like, we don't, we're going to lose exclusivity or exclusives because of this, and this is going to hurt our market share. And
what, Call of Duty?
Yeah. Well, and then
everything else Activision has is already no longer exclusive to like like Crash Bandicoot is on Xbox now. Like,
yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm saying. And then Microsoft just turned right around and said, okay, if you're that worried about it, we'll give you a 10-year deal. And
also from everything they're doing, they're not trying to sell consoles, clearly.
No.
You can play Xbox games on a Samsung TV. Do you think Microsoft makes money when they buy Samsung TVs?
No.
Like, they're trying to sell software.
They want to sell that Game Pass. Whether they do it through the family plan or they do it individually or whatever the case is, they are making so much more money
I
by
think I think if I remember right, I can't remember where I saw it, but I think the last numbers I saw of Xbox as a whole, Game Pass was 18% of their profit. Like an entire Xbox, counting consoles and game sales and everything. I feel like it's even more than that though. I'm trying to see if I can find the article again. It's a
was
problem when you read too much shit. You can't remember what you saw where.
well, like Hybrid says here, the consoles are dying. I get it. I agree that the consoles are dying, but I don't understand why. Because I went out and bought. I have the Series S, whatever. I don't have the X. I couldn't find one. I've got the Series S, and I didn't need it based on my peripherals and stuff that I have. But it makes so much more sense to buy a console over buying a PC. And I'll probably catch hate, and I don't particularly give a shit. But I'm not hardware savvy. I don't build PCs. I don't understand how all of that works. I mean, I was going to friends, over the last 2 weeks about upgrading the graphics card in this computer just so I could do more with the streaming and splitting up and have multiple monitors going, monitoring the stream and whatnot. But anyway, I don't understand why people are moving away from consoles because I can set up that console. I know that
Yeah.
every single game that I can play on that Xbox, I don't have to worry about specs. I don't have to worry about graphics. I don't have to worry about all these things that PC players do. And that's true. And console and PC stuff is which is basically what I'm doing and kind of breeding the two together. But I don't understand. I mean, I have a lot of friends that are gaming on PCs, and they've got $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, put into a PC game, and number one, they're still playing fucking Skyrim, which that's a whole nother thing. But
We bought it again.
yeah, exactly. A friend of mine, he just put he put like a
I can't
thousand.
believe the amount of copies of Skyrim and GTA 5 that have been sold over and over and over again.
But like I said, I have a buddy of mine. He just put together $1,000 PC, and he still can't play Skyrim on max graphics. I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean, what's the point?
I feel like consoles aren't going away. They're only less common because of the chip shortage that happened because of COVID.
I guess that's
So
a
they're
good
really
counter
fucking
argument.
hard to find. And graphics card were only hard to find for like 5 or 6 months during the whole crypto boom. And now they're back.
Yeah,
Like a ton of scalpers lost a shit ton of money on Nvidia's new 4000 series graphics cards because everyone's like, I can just buy one. Why would I get a scalped one?
yeah, yeah. Well, good. Fuck them.
Yeah, so graphics cards are still being made, and Sony fucked up, and I don't know how. I only know this from where I work at, and we get deliveries on the Xboxes and PlayStations. We constantly get shipments from Microsoft from Xboxes, and from what I heard from some of our vendors and stuff is Microsoft secured exclusive rights to a couple different chip manufacturers. So the manufacturers that were making chips for both Sony and Microsoft are now only making them for Microsoft. And that might be another reason that Sony's really butthurt that not only can we not make fucking consoles, uh, they're stealing all our chips, but now they want to take Activision and Call of Duty away from us too.
Yeah,
But also on the other hand, Sony's still making a lot of fucking consoles. But again, their market share is not here in the U.S. So if you're here in the U.S. and you think I've never seen a PlayStation, well, yeah, because they're selling them all overseas.
yeah. Well, I mean,
We're getting the bottom of the barrel when they have some left. They'll come over
well,
here.
that's the thing is too. Microsoft is more an American company, and
Yeah, so
and
every one
Sony,
they're making is available
yeah,
here in America.
and then Sony is an Asian company, and that's the birth of console gaming was in Asia with the rise of Nintendos and stuff like that. But
Like, I bet PS5 still outsold. Let me look here. Yeah, PlayStation 5 has sold 27.5 million units. Xbox Series X and S combined has sold 20 million units. So PlayStation's still outselling. You're just not seeing them here in America because this isn't their market.
Right.
You're seeing a lot of Xboxes available everywhere because this is their market. They're not sending them overseas, you know.
You know, Phil, you make a good point. With the backwards compatibility, and I was on that train for a long time. Um, when it comes to, it's one of the reasons why what got me into console gaming. You know, as kind of more of like an adult when the PlayStation 2 came out, I chose the PlayStation 2 over the Xbox because the PlayStation 2 had the back catalog of PlayStation 1 games that you could play on top of the PlayStation 2 games. So, you know, having those consoles going forward and still having backwards compatibility is good, but I had a friend explain it to me and it makes perfect sense. Is there comes a point where the new technology that's out there can't be dumbed down to play this old stuff. Like they have to draw a line and say
Well,
we
you get to a point you're running emulators because that's the only way to make it work.
right. And that's kind of what happened with PlayStation and what was going to happen with Xbox until they completely, you know, redid their whole system and now you've got, you know, the Game Pass and all of that has a huge backlog of old stuff from the 360 and the OG Xbox era. But you know, there just comes a point where the technology needs to move forward so they
Yeah.
can create new stuff. Like the Xbox 360, you know, was that console existed for what 12 years before they put something else out, and that
Yeah.
was they were having, you know, 12 years in technology, you know, speak is, I mean, that's multiple lifetimes. I
Well, they
mean,
went through nine. No, let's see if you count that. Yeah, they went through nine different iterations of the 360.
right, but it still had to be able to play the older stuff. You know,
Yeah.
it's, you know,
Well, they
anything
got
that.
to a point they started running emulators.
Hmm.
That's why some of the stuff would play like god awful garbage. You'd be like, "Oh, I want to play Fusion Frenzy," and you try it and it's super laggy, and you're like, "What the fuck is it?" It's because it's running an emulator.
But I think that, I mean, it sucks that there is a loss of backwards compatibility, but then I also understand it because there comes a point where we have to like start moving forward.
Yeah.
You know.
I feel like a lot of us are biased, even the people in our chat. I would call us more gamers. So probably the majority of the people we know are playing on PC.
Right.
Most people that like their mom and dad, you know, have regular jobs. They don't play video games. They want to be able to play games. Their mom and dad, they're not going to spend $1,000, $1,500 on a PC. They'll go, oh, how much is the PlayStation? 500. Okay, get you
Yeah.
the 500.
Yeah.
No matter how you do it, even if you try and build a cheap PC and then slowly upgrade it, no matter how you do it, consoles are always cheaper
Yeah.
and more convenient.
That's the reason why I never crossed off of consoles because it just didn't make any sense. It's like, number one, I don't have the knowledge, you know, so I'd either have to be spending a ton of time educating myself on this whole different process, or um, I would have to like pay somebody to build this computer for me,
Yeah.
and it's just
Xbox is still positioned the best to do it though because they've got a cheap console, they've got a more expensive console, but all their stuff can also be played on PC. Sony's slowly coming around to that fact. Like Death Stranding's on PC, Horizon's on PC, but all their fanboys are really upset. I bought this $500 console. I don't want to play it on PC.
then play it.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
now, granted, because of what Xbox and the PC has done and Microsoft has done, kind of melding everything, you know, we're getting tons of, you know, cross compatibility or cross play with other, you know, with the PC
yeah.
gamers and stuff like that. And Sony has just dug their heels into the ground and just like fought that every step of the way. We do not want crossplay. We want people playing on PlayStation to stay on PlayStation, and
Well, even now, when you play Call of Duty or Rocket League, or even, you can cross-play sort of, but it's not completely unlimited. There's still limitations to how much you're cross-play when you're playing on a PlayStation.
Right. And
Xbox and PC are fully open.
yeah, and honestly, almost to the detriment of the player base, because now we're going back to this argument of mouse and keyboard versus aim assist, and what's better and who's better and who has more of advantage, and all of that. And once again, my cream of the week game is really showing me that not just in competitive shooters does mouse and keyboard or controller have that headbutting, but in the competitive air combat scene, there's a big difference between controllers and mouse and keyboard, or flight sticks and controllers.
Yeah, well, if you're playing the flying games, you want to go all out, flight sticks and everything. I mean, I've said it once, I'll say it 1,000 times. Aiming and shooting is way better on mouse and keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
Movement is way better, 1,000 times better on a controller.
Yes.
You cannot get the same movement out of a WASD. That's fully on, fully off, fully on, fully off. A joystick being able to be, every, a million different points of I'm upper left, upper right, I'm half, I'm here and there.
Right.
It's not even close with
You
the
can
movement.
fine tune it.
Yeah. But when you compare then that right stick to a mouse, the mouse then blows it out of the fucking water. The ability to dial it in
Can be
1,600 dots per inch fucking.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, speaking of that.
Looting's easier on PC. Fucking,
yeah.
I mean,
well, and the ability to have keybinds and to and now the new controllers, you can remap the
the new controllers and elites and buttons, it's better, but
it's not the same.
It depends. That's why I love movement focused games, because I play on mouse and keyboard. I did for a few years before I came back around. Now I play on controller mostly again because I enjoy movement. So I have to position and focus on my movement more than my aim. Whereas a PC player will be out in the middle of nowhere and just go, well, I'll probably hit more bullets than you. So
yeah, but it's okay. Consoles they've got aim assist, and that makes all the difference.
yeah, well, and either one, there's no 100%. Whatever you prefer, you can get good at.
Right.
Snipe Down, I think there's one other pro that plays Apex on controller, but Snipe Down just shits on the PC players on controller, and they can bitch and whine all day long. But if it was that good, aim assist was that much more of an advantage, why aren't they playing on it?
Yeah.
Because they prefer mouse and keyboard.
Well, it comes back to that same conversation that we were having earlier. It's all about it's all about that comfort.
Yeah.
Or it's just like those exploits, or just like those glitches. Everybody has access to super jumping. Everybody has
Everyone
access.
has access to a controller.
Yeah, and especially today, where where you can take an Xbox controller and plug it into a PC, and you don't have to do anything. It's there.
Well,
it's done.
you can take a mouse and keyboard and plug it into an Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
It supports most of them.
Most of them.
Yeah.
But once again, why would you? For me, I can't make that transition to mouse and keyboard because I've spent the last.
Well, it's super.
25,
That's exactly why Snipe Down's
near
not.
30
Snipe
years.
Down's been a Halo pro for how long? And just now that he's playing Apex, even though it's not Halo, he's been playing on a controller for 20 years. You expect him to jump to mouse and keyboard? That's never going to happen. Like,
No. I can't wrap my mind around it. I can't.
No.
I've been playing.
I can't believe that some of
early
the
90s.
Rocket League pros play on mouse and keyboard. To me, that's a completely 100% movement-based game. So to me, it's way better on a controller. Mastering the movements on a mouse and keyboard in Rocket League fucking blows my mind.
And we haven't played Rocket League in like a while.
I know, we haven't played in a long time.
Well, I'm afraid to go back to Rocket League because the people that are
The
now
only people still playing it
are way
gonna
fucking way better than we could ever imagine.
sweating their balls off.
Yeah.
They're going to be tying my mom down to their bed and making her suck their peanuts.
Yeah, but no, that's I think that's enough. I think we beat that horse enough.
Yeah. We'll never talk about Halo again. Until
Okay.
next episode.
Yeah, until next week, which I know we will next week, assuming our special guest is able to make it. So
Oh yeah, yeah.
that
But
reminds
what was your cream of the week?
my cream of the week. I started playing War Thunder.
War Thunder.
It's actually I really like it because it melds a lot of different types of gameplay together. You know,
That looks like a War of Tanks ripoff or something.
I think the World of Warships and World of Tanks rips off War Thunder.
Oh yeah.
I think that's how it works. But it's way better, way smoother, way more thought out. Like I said, I've been playing World of Warships for a couple of years now, and
Yeah.
it's it is a lot easier. It's a lot new player friendly in regards to what War Thunder is. War Thunder is much more the finer details of naval combat and ship movement and all of that, where World of Warships is more arcade gimmick type gameplay.
It looks like a scam because I literally cannot find gameplay from War Thunder.
Really,
All I can see are fucking promotional images.
I see it on TikTok all the time.
Hold on, I'm on YouTube trying to find gameplay. All I'm seeing are all these fancy cinematic trailers that definitely aren't gameplay.
No, it's I downloaded a
Oh,
tech.
here's some gameplay. Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I don't really like their progression system. That's the only thing I don't like
It
about
looks
it.
like a Battlefield came out in 1998.
Yeah, okay, I give you that. But one of the things I think is really really fun is you can start out as a tank battle, and you might be getting your butt kicked in the tanks, and you can, assuming you have it unlocked, you can switch to an aircraft. And okay, now I'm in a bomber, and instead of shooting the tanks, I'm dropping bombs on them while during the same multiplayer engagement. There's some naval battles that you can either run ships, you can run your planes, or there's some areas of the maps where you can have tanks to fire at.
It looks like, at least what I'm watching, looks like all vehicular combat.
Yes, yeah, it's all
So it's like if Battlefield was just purely vehicles and more technical.
Yeah, and it is very technical. I've watched a bunch of videos explaining like combat maneuvering within in the aircraft and understanding, because if you're taking turns too hard, you are going to put G-force pressure on your pilot, and if you put too many G's on him for too long, your screen will begin to black out or gray out as as the pilot is starting to black out. So you have to take into account that when when you're playing. You're like, okay, I'm not going to be able to take this turn at 600 miles an hour to stay on this guy's tail, because I'm going to black out in the process. So you have to be a little bit more strategic in your movement and your flying, which is it's something that I've never come across in any form of like gaming mechanics.
It must be pretty good because it came out in 2012, and from what it looks like, there's still a lot of people playing it.
I was on last night, and there was their population that they had reported was still 84,000 players.
Yeah, I'm watching this video that came out 2 months ago, and it has 300,000 views on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the things that I've noticed is there's two separate age groups that play that game.
Oh, your favorite, and then old people.
Yes, yeah, it's the young kids playing it and old people playing it. The kids are playing it probably because it's free on Game Pass, or on the other hand, it's the the retired military types that are into historical combat stuff,
Yeah,
because it starts out with World
it
War.
does look like a combat simulator, but not like flight simulator where you got to make sure your flaps are up and every
Actually,
single
yeah.
little thing.
You do.
I mean,
You can control your flaps and everything in this.
well, it does. I mean, I'm saying there's not 4,000 switches you got to worry about. It looks like there's like 10. Whereas
Yeah.
Battlefield, you just go left and right, and that's it.
Right. Yeah.
This one looks like right in between like Battlefield and an actual like war simulation.
Yeah. I've been playing it now for about a week, and I'm not a fan of their user interface. And they're transitioning from game to game um, on the menu stuff. I don't like it. They
Yeah.
have, it is gimmicky when it has, okay, you can unlock stuff by researching them, which is just giving it time to research, or you can, spend in-game currency to unlock it sooner, or, you could buy some more in-game currency and unlock it even sooner.
So are there maps that are over the ocean
Yes.
and then there's maps over land? Or are
Yes.
there maps that have both?
Yes. That's literally it. There's some maps where it's all air combat. There's other maps where it's all naval combat. There's some maps where it's all land-based combat. And then there's other maps that you can play, or other game types that you can play, that are an amalgamation of all three of them, or maybe one or two of them.
How many are on like one server?
It's quite a bit. I mean, I would say at least 24, maybe even 48.
I guess it probably depends on if you're on an Xbox or on PC.
Well,
or
it's crossplay, and I've noticed that it
that's not what I wanted. I'll tell you this: it does have a lot more concurrent players than Halo Infinite.
and a game that's
I tried
8
to
times
look up
older?
the amount of players in one server, and it told me the concurrent players. So last count, there's between 50 to 60,000 concurrent players.
yeah.
Which last time I saw for Halo Infinite was about 2,000. So
Yeah. Well, like I said, I was playing last night, and I made a because I knew we were going to talk about it. It was going to be my cream of the week on the show. So I was looking at it, and I was playing at it was after the ball drop. So this was 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and it was East Coast time.
what? This can't be right.
They had 84,000. They had 84,000 players with like 2,500 matches going on at the same time.
This says there's 73,000 players on it right now, and in the last month they've had 11 million players.
Well, maybe they're looking at it per day.
Well, it's probably counting every time they log in too. It's counting
Yeah.
as a new count.
That's what I'm saying. Is they might today we had 84,000. Tomorrow we have 84,000. So for the last 2 days we've had 168,000 players. When it's probably the same damn players every day.
Yeah,
But I mean that still tells you how many people are playing it.
yeah, that's still a lot of people playing it, especially for a game that's 10 years old.
Yeah. Like I said, you start out with World War One era aircraft and tanks, and pretty much World War Two era.
Wait. Okay. To know if it's good or not, has Stone Mountain played it?
I would say it's a good possibility that he has.
Let me look up and see. Because if he's played it and been like, all right, boys, here we go.
But there is that. I mean, there is that type of conversations that happen, and I've gotten into some of those conversations a few times, but then it's
Yeah.
immediately interrupted by a 7-year-old screaming. So I'm just like, and mute.
Nah, bring me chocolate milk.
Yes, there was one kid that I was gaming with that for the entire 30-minute combat, he was just eating potato chips. And I was so, and then back then I couldn't figure out how to mute his ass. So that was
Speaking of that, I don't know. How do I say this without sounding racist? Because it's not racist.
the old classic. I'm not racist, but
Okay, I'm playing Call of Duty, right?
okay.
And how come every time I hear, hey, every fucking time it's loud as shit munching into the mic, and then they speak Spanish. Every fucking time.
In my experience, it's always been
And the Spanish doesn't come, and then I go, oh, they're gonna fucking be chewing chips. No. I hear the chewing chips, and then I go, they're gonna speak Spanish, and I'm not gonna know what they're saying.
yeah. Well, I have not ran into any Spanish speakers
At least 10 different ones on Call of Duty.
And not in,
Every single person that's been chewing into their fucking microphone.
I haven't run into any Spanish speakers in War Thunder, but I have ran into, um,
See,
I believe it was
Dude gets it. Spanish or Indian.
yeah. No, I've run into German on some of the servers, which is quite funny. I never could figure out if they were playing German ships or not, or German aircraft.
It looks kind of fun. I might have to try it. It's
Give
better
it-
than that game I bought for $25 that we can't play.
That's true, and this one's free. There's even the other thing too is I was streaming it a few nights ago, and I had someone show up in the stream, and it was like, "Oh, I love playing this game. When I get home, can we play together?" It's like, "Yeah, sure. You know, when you get home, shoot me an invite or a message, and we'll get something." They have custom games, like you can have custom maps, custom games, custom combat. You can have
Ooh.
yeah.
Who do you think has more viewers on Twitch right now, War Thunder or Halo Infinite? I'll tell you, it's closer than you think. Halo Infinite has it beat by 400 viewers, but just barely.
And it's a 12-year-old
Oh, man.
game.
That's sad.
Yeah, I was actually surprised. Out of all the games that I've streamed over the last maybe 6 months,
Well, that's an unfair comparison. While she's playing Halo Infinite right now, of course, there's fucking people watching while she play.
oh,
All right, as soon as he logs off, they're probably gonna.
tanks. But I noticed out of all the games that I've played over the last 6 months streaming, I've gotten more views while streaming on War Thunder than anything else.
Huh.
I mean, that was retro games when not when we were playing Call of Duty, not when we were doing Apex, not Halo. Well, I haven't played Halo.
Just playing.
Yeah, just playing War Thunder.
Thunder.
And they have they just have like an arcade battle mode that it's just like they split the server in half, and it's just half on half. And
I swear I've seen their like the game cover art logo. I don't know what you call it. I swear I've seen that around too.
yeah,
It looks familiar, but it also kind of looks like War of Tanks. So War of Tanks probably
well, given
might
that
be right. They probably stole it from them.
yeah, given that this is a 12-year-old game, I'm pretty sure World of Tanks and World of Warships probably ripped them off.
So are maps era based? Because I swear I
Yes.
see like old planes, and then I see like jets, and I'm confused. Like, are you having aerial combat between like a
No,
Mustang and a fucking F-22?
no, no. They base it, each aircraft or each. Well, I'm just going to use aircraft because it's the easiest. Because it's the most complete with all the stuff that they've got because across all the eras. Starting in World War One, they all have a rating system. All of your World War One era aircraft are usually like rank 1, and then when you kind of start transitioning into World War Two, you might have rank 2, rank 3 aircraft, and then going into we'll say Korea, Vietnam, you might have 5, 6, 7, and 8 level or 8 rank aircraft. And then what they do is you can't play ships in a lobby that are more than 1 or more than 2 ranks separate from what everybody else is playing. So if everybody is playing rank 1 aircrafts, the most you could do is rank 2 aircraft.
Oh.
So it's like rank 1 and 2 will play each other, and then in rank 2 you might have ranks 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. So and it averages it out because it's not all like single digit stuff. Like some of the aircraft as you're transitioning through the eras are like, okay, this is a 1.4 rank ship or a 1.7 rank whatever, and like and you start out in World War One era stuff, and you work your way up to modern day
Like
stuff.
with what you have unlocked?
Yeah, and you have to research and unlock stuff, and it kind of it's a lot like World of Warships, and it's definitely the mechanic that they must have
So
stolen.
it's pay to win.
It's not pay to win; it's pay to advance.
Oh, okay.
Because, well, like I said, I can drop a bunch of money and go ahead and unlock the F-16, but I'm going to be playing in a server with other people that have F-16s.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not like I'm going to have an F-16 and going to get to go back and play against a World War I biplane. You know, you're not gonna have that
Is
different.
it ticket based or how do you win?
It is ticket based. It's ticket based, and it depends on if in the arcade, which is kind of like their bread and butter game mode. You have there's the aircraft, or excuse me, the naval battles and the land based battles are usually attack and defend points, like domination type game modes, and then in the air you have aerial combat, but you also have these ground-based targets that are anti-aircraft positions or maybe a tank position. And if your goal is to destroy them while dealing with the aerial combat.
Other aircraft?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So whoever destroys all of the land-based targets first, their side wins. But which it basically is kind of ticket-based.
It does look kind of fun.
I like it.
I've never been like super into tanks, but the aerial stuff looks cool.
Well, and that's the other cool thing is you can just say, "Oh, I just want to play aircraft. I don't care about anything else." That's cool. There's a whole you can play nothing but aircraft, and you have 15, or I won't say 15. I think it's more like maybe 10 or 12 countries to choose from. You have American, France, Russian, British, German, Italian, and Japanese, Chinese from all the eras going forward.
You can be kamikaze?
You can fly Zeros,
Nice.
and it's great. They have you can have the in cockpit view, and it's all period correct cockpits. I love flying some of the older like World War II era fighters because you can like open the canopy up, and while you're playing you can see the wind is moving and stuff like that. I mean, it looks it's very pretty. But the audio is you can the Mustang was it the Rolls Royce engine or Pratt and Whitney engine, I think that was in the Mustangs, has a very iconic sound, along with the Zeros have a very iconic sound. They get the sounds right. Movement feels really good. I like doing the air combat. I've kind of gotten
that looks fun.
I've kind of gotten like okay at naval stuff because there's a learning curve from World of Warships to here. I think if I hadn't played World of Warships, I would probably be better off at this because I wouldn't have like habits that I was bringing over from World of Warships. The tank combat's kind of fun.
It looks okay. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd have to try it. I'm watching some of the aerial stuff. I do like the planes are like falling apart.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and your plane gets shot up, and you might be missing a section of the wing, and the flight characteristics will change with it. If you get part of the wing blown off, the plane will list, and
yeah, we might have to try this one.
Yeah, I've had. That's what I'm going to do when I get off here. I don't have to work tomorrow, so I'm going to play War Thunder. I'll probably even set it up to stream. But
you lucky.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my cream of the week. I've been just like no lifing it all week, and I still haven't gotten out of like the rank 2 ships or the rank 2 aircraft. So
yeah, I'll have to try it.
Yeah.
I'll have to download it first.
Yeah, download it. When you download it, after you download it,
download it on Xbox or on PC.
Well, I mean, I know for a fact we can play it on Xbox. I don't know how cross-platform works on the PC and how to meet up in parties and lobbies.
Let me look where it's at.
It's on Game Pass.
I know, but if it's on the PC Game Pass, then it would be easy. But if it's on like some other thing,
gotcha. But
let me check.
If you're not going to download it on the Xbox, then don't worry about it. But if you download it on Xbox, there's a separate
high-res texture pack.
Yeah, you can download the texture packs. Download at least the aerial one looks fantastic.
How big is it? Hold on, let's look.
I would say with the texture packs, you're looking probably about 80 gigs.
Mm,
give or take. Um,
I don't know how much room I got.
no.
It's not on the PC Game Pass, so I don't know. Let me look. I don't know how much space I have on my S.
You can always delete Halo.
I already did a long time ago.
Me too. Oh, I will say I deleted Apex, by
Why
the
do I
way.
have Battlefield? I'm never gonna play that. Hold on, let me uninstall Battlefield. See what that clears up.
I installed Apex
There we go.
to play
I have
this.
142 gigs
Yeah,
free. That
plenty.
should be good.
Yeah, set it up. Set it to download because
Do I need the texture packs?
you don't need them if you just like how the pretty stuff. If you want more details on the planes and the ground, I played most of it. I just downloaded the texture pack last night.
Texture pack Air Forces. I'll take that.
Yeah, I didn't download the texture pack for the ground based stuff because
Yeah.
I don't care enough because all I want to play is the air combat. Like
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
but yeah, you basically you can pick a faction, pick a country, and you can just work your way through unlocking all
you
of
be
their
Russian?
stuff. Yeah, yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
I only say that because I can kind of do a Russian accent.
And it doesn't matter what faction you're playing on. If you're in a party together, you're just flying together. So like you can
All right.
like I'm working my way
It's
through
downloading.
I'm working my way
I
through
don't
the
know how long
American
it's gonna
stuff,
take.
and if you work through the
Oh, there's different planes. Oh, well, of course that makes sense.
yeah
Duh.
like right now I'm working my way towards let's see, I've opened up the P-30 era aircraft and working my way towards the P-50s, like the P-51, the Mustang, stuff like that. And then once I get past that, I can start working towards the jets. I think the first one I can unlock is the F4 Phantom, but there's like 6 different variations of the F4, and then you can work your way through. I don't know all my aircraft, but I'm just like the end game is
I know a couple. I know the common ones.
yeah. The end game is I think you can go up to either the F-16 or the F-18. I don't know if they've got the 5th gen stuff on there.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know if you like the F-35s or the F-22s or anything like that, but the bombing.
Well, technically.
Yeah, um, the bombers, the bombing campaigns and missions. There is a campaign to it too. I started the British
Oh,
campaign.
there's a campaign.
Yeah, it's really wonky the way it works because it's called a dynamic campaign, and depending on whether you win or lose combat missions will affect the outcome of the campaign. And I haven't.
Oh, so it's like Titanfall 1 campaign where
Yeah.
it didn't really have a campaign. You were playing multiplayer, but it like
Yes.
counted as the campaign.
Well, it is. It's single player stuff. It's all single player campaign stuff, but depending on like how the outcome of each mission and what you choose to do in each mission affects the outcome of the. I don't know. I haven't made it that far, but I really like doing the bombing missions or running the bombers because it just feels really good. It gives you a nice reticle underneath your aircraft, and as you're flying along, it kind of shows you where it should land. And bombing,
Can you play first person?
Yeah.
The one I'm watching, he's playing in third person,
Yeah.
flying.
So you have
That seems like that ruins it.
well, I play mostly in third person because first person's so fucking hard. I mean, it's incredibly
Oh,
hard.
You're so fucking hard.
I wish. But you can play in first person in the cockpit, or you can be first person without the cockpit and you just have your aiming reticles. Or if you're flying, some of the ships have tail gunners, or not the ships. Some of the aircraft have tail gunners. You can switch to tail gunners and shoot. Shoot as a tail gunner, or you can play as the bombardier and look through the thing and line your shit up and drop bombs and shit. So I've been having a lot of fun. So I'll binge
All
it
right,
for
we
a while.
got it. You
yeah.
sold it on us.
Yeah. Apparently I've sold the chat too. So
I better do. That's how I'm going to say your name.
but what about you? What
I don't know
about
how you say it.
what about your game of the week or your cream of the week?
Oh, I don't have a game of the week, but I got a cream of the week.
All right, what is it?
So I started watching a show on Hulu
Okay.
because I saw a clip of it. I'm trying to decide if I should tell you the clip. I'll tell you the clip. This is how I was introduced to it. I saw it on TikTok. So there's a guy and his daughter walking down the street and they're eating ice cream and he's talking about like, oh, what do you want for your birthday? Blah blah blah. And these like punks on the street run into them and they like run into his daughter and she drops the ice cream on the ground. And he's like, hey, watch where you're going. And the guy's like, "Hell, fuck off, cunt!" And like says some stuff to him. He's like, "Whoa, whoa, you guys need to chill. Watch your mouth." And he's like, "Yeah, fuck you, geezer," and like flips him off, and they start walking away. And so him and his daughter are walking, and she's like, "Hey, you telling me he owes me $4, like, or whatever?" And I'm like, "Huh, okay." And so they get to the car, and as they're getting to the car, he sees those dudes like down the street, and so he's like putting his daughter in the car, and he's like, "Daddy's gonna pop around the corner and go get a newspaper. Okay, sweetie, you stay here in the car." And he like locks the door, puts her in the car, and he goes around the corner, and he's like eating his ice cream, and he's like walking up on these dudes, and like as he gets up to him, he like throws the ice cream at one of them and like kicks his shin, and the other one just takes off fucking running.
Okay.
I'm like, oh shit, what is this show? And then it like cuts to a clip where he's in anger management class because apparently he got caught beating those two up. And he's in anger management class, and the guy's like talking to him. He's like, so how do you feel uh, that you beat up those guys? And he's fine. I feel fine. He's like, you don't feel bad about it? Nah, they were assholes. And the guy is like, well, Ray, you know the world is full of assholes. And like Ray leans forward in his seat and is like, yeah, and you know why? Because people let him get away with shit. And I was like, fuck, what is this show? I gotta look it up. It seems interesting. And then I start watching it, and it's the most fucking insane show. It's like Ray and his daughter, and it's like wholesome and stuff. And then you learn he's like a hitman, and like it's fucking insane. And so for the first two episodes, I thought it was British because they have an accent. And then by the third episode, I was like, wait a minute, this is fucking Australian. So it's an Australian show. It's on Hulu. It's called Mr. In Between,
I'm gonna look
and
it
it's
up.
fucking amazing. I'm loving it. I'm on the fourth episode. I just started watching it, dude. It's so fucking wild. Like I'm trying to think of a clip I can tell you and like not ruin something
Oh,
that
it's an
comes.
FX movie or it's an FX show.
Yeah, it's FX. It's Australian publication. Like there's another scene that I haven't even seen yet. It's another clip I saw where his daughter's getting bullied by this girl at school, and like he keeps telling the school, "Hey, my daughter's getting bullied." Like they just don't do anything about it. So he has like his niece who also goes to that school, but she's like much older. Um, and he says, "Hey, will you watch my daughter? You know, she keeps getting bullied." So that girl like jumps the kids that have been bullying his daughter and like beats him up. And so like again, Ray's in trouble. They find out. So these cops come to his house to like question him about this whole thing that happened with his daughter and the bully at the school and everything. And like this is another clip that made me love. I haven't got to this episode yet, but the clip is the cops come. He's like, "Right, how you doing?" And they're like, "So there was an incident at school, and we just wanted to ask you some questions about it." He's like, "Ah, I don't answer questions." They're like, "Oh, okay. So do you know like Kylie down to the school?" And he's like, "Huh. Yeah, I don't answer questions." like, like they just keep trying to talk to him. He's like, "Yeah, I don't answer questions."
All right, I just sat and watched the series
Dude,
trailer. It looks good. I'll watch it.
it's so good. The amount of shit that happens in the first three. It's only 24 minutes long or so per episode. The amount of shit that happens in an episode, like so much stuff happens. Like I've only watched three episodes. Okay, he's beating up some kids. He's got an anger management. He got a gun. A shootout happened. I don't want to tell you how the shootout happens because it fucking is insane. Like you need to watch it. It's like the Australian version of Breaking Bad, but instead of drugs, He's a hitman,
Okay.
and like it does a really good job of like showing you the different levels of like, oh, he's a dad and he's with his daughter and he was divorced, so like it's him and his wife sharing custody. And oh, there's a point where like his daughter's asking him like, oh, does Jesus exist? And he's like, well, we don't really know, if Jesus exists. And she's like, well, does Santa exist? And he's like, breaks the news to her that no, Santa's not real. And like, sorry if you didn't know, Q, Santa's not real. And
Spoiler alert.
she's like, what about the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy? No, sorry, those aren't real either. And she's like, but unicorns are real, right? And he's like, well, absolutely, of course, unicorns are real. I seen one the other day while I was hiking. Like, because he doesn't want to break her heart, because unicorns are like one of her favorite fucking things. So like, he's a good dad, but also he's a good hitman.
All right.
Like it's so fucking fun. They like go to hit up this guy that owes them money, and they walk in, and Ray's letting the newbie like have a chance at like intimidating him. So Ray's just like standing there in the doorway, and the other guy just walks up to this guy and bashes his head into the desk. He's like, "Where's our fucking money? Where's our money?" And the guy's like, hold on, I'll get it for you. I'll get it for you." And like he's like, "I just don't have it today. You got to give me till Friday." And the guy keeps bashing his head in, and he's like, "Yeah, we need it by today." And Ray has just been standing there in the doorway the whole time. He's like, "Hey, do you got your wallet on you?" And the guy's like, "Yeah, yeah, sure." And he like hands him his wallet, and Ray like takes his wallet and he's just looking at it and he starts writing something down. And like him and the other guy and the guy they're beating up is like both looking at him. And he was looking at his driver's license. He's writing down his address. And he's like, "Oh, you live out in Palmdale, huh? Yeah, real nice place out there, real green. I like it." And he like hands him back his wallet, and he starts leaving. And they're like, "Where are you going?" I just figured I'd run down to Palmdale. And the guy's like, "Whoa, whoa, what are you going down there for?" He's like, "Yeah, nothing. Just wanted to see some stuff." And he's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold on. I can get you your money." He's like, "Oh, I don't want your money. That's not what I'm here for, mate." And he's like, "Well, what are you here for?" He's like, "I'm not here for fucking money. He's here for fucking money." He's like, "Well, what do you do then?" He's like, "I'm the guy that makes you wish you paid when you should have." And then he fucking walks out the door. Like, dude, it's so fucking good. I love it. Like, it's great. I don't know if I've ever seen like an Australian show before, where it's like purely everyone's Australian. But like the main actor dude is so fucking good. Like the creepy smile that he does. I think he's doing it in the main. No, never mind. He's not doing it in the main thing. But yeah, it's on Hulu. If you have Hulu, I don't know where else you would watch it if you don't have Hulu.
If it's on FX, then yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think it's just on Hulu, but it's called Mister In Between. It looks like you can buy it on YouTube, but that's dumb.
Yeah.
Just get Hulu.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
cool.
it's fucking really good though. I like it.
Well, great. I think we have an episode.
Yeah, I think that was at least one episode.
Yeah, episode.
Quite kind of a long one. I don't
Yeah.
know why my camera keeps doing that. I don't know if you can see it on the stream, but it keeps fucking swinging back and forth. It's annoying me. I hope it's not annoying you guys. Yeah, thanks. How about we do? I don't know how to say your name. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And Phil, as always, and
Rabble was here earlier. I don't know if he's
Rabbit
still
was
here or
here
not.
for earlier.
But
Uh,
yeah, let's see. I'm probably gonna stream some War Thunder after this. After I take a little bit of a break and reset.
yeah.
Tomorrow I'm gonna go back to retro gaming. I'm gonna do the second or third episode.
Technically, War Thunder is retro gaming. It's
Yeah,
like 12 years
yeah,
old.
I guess that's true. My Monday, it's either gonna be the second or third episode of Doom, because I'm playing through Doom. Um, let's
Okay.
see. Wednesdays we are not doing D&D right now, so not sure what I'm going to do with my Wednesdays. I was going to go. I think Wednesdays is going to become my War Thunder Wednesdays, or War Crime Wednesdays, what I've been calling it. Unfortunately, when you're flying in your aircraft and you can bail out and you got your little parachute and you can see them parachuting, you can't shoot them down. You can't shoot the
Oh,
parachutes. You can't commit the war crime, which is really disappointing.
Oh,
Um, they said Wednesday probably going to do more War Thunder. Not sure what I'm going to do with my Tuesdays either because we're done. We're done with our D&D on Tuesdays until Nicole figures out what we're going to do going forward.
yeah, what we do there.
And then Thursday we're approaching the tail end of our D&D stream on Mysteries channel. I think we've got one or two. Well, we're not playing this Thursday because people are out of town. But we've only got one or two sessions left of our Curse of Strahd campaign, and
Yeah.
um, finish out our 16-month campaign we've been playing for a year and a half, give or take.
My gosh.
Um, and then we're going to transition from there into here it is, bam, Tomb of Annihilation. It's the next campaign that we're going to do on our Thursday D&D. So
With the same people?
yeah, yep,
Tomb of Annihilation.
Tomb of Annihilation.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, it's a campaign set in the jungle, and or this jungle island, and there is this curse that
Oh, it's Tomb Raider?
kind of I mean it kind of is kind of Tomb Raider, but there's this curse for people that have been brought back from the dead. If they're brought back from the dead, they slowly like wither away because of this death curse. And the whole basis of the campaign is you're hired by this woman who is suffering from the death curse, and you're looking for the solution and finding out like why this is happening, and you have to deal with a bunch. It's got a bunch of mechanics that I'm going to be introducing to the players that they've never encountered. So I'm really excited. This will probably be another 1.5 to 2 year campaign. So
Oh, dang.
yeah. So I figure 2025 I'll be picking out a new D&D campaign for the group.
Yeah. Somewhere around then.
Somewhere around then. That's what I think. So anyway, I think that's an episode. You said you got a little bit of time left before you got it downloaded. So you want to play this evening?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what I'll be doing is the thing that I'm not telling people about because I don't want to get in my own head about what I told people I told it. So I should be doing it because I told them, but now I don't want to do it because I'm supposed to do it. So I've been doing that pretty much. I haven't been playing any games or anything. I'm waiting till something comes of that before I say anything about anything. So
Okay.
I've already said too much. Yeah, other than that, I guess that's it. We'll see what happens with Activision and Microsoft and Halo, and
Yep.
who knows? Maybe in 5 years, Phil will come out and say, "Yeah, we tanked Halo on purpose. We didn't really try on Infinite at all. Here's the real Halo we've been making for 10 years."
Yeah. Um, be sure to come back next week. I think we're going to have a special guest next week.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, he said either next Sunday or the Sunday after. So
Okay,
One way or the
I bet
other.
one of these times.
One of these
we
days.
we have a thing we might be trying that I don't think we've ever done before.
I'm for it. I love it.
We'll see.
All right.
Yeah, bye, Q.
Bye. Bye, Oreo.
I almost forgot your name. I was like, bye,
The
you, bye, you, bye, Q.
But bye.
I better
you.
do.